The eunuch who delivered the message from His Royal Highness bowed so deeply his head nearly touched the ground. "This servant has a personal matter to attend to," he stammered, rising unsteadily. She stood still in the middle of the courtyard, letting the eunuch's words sink in. Since she saved his life with a sleeping draught, since she patched up the wound on his arm after he cut himself shaving, since she treated his many headaches. He was just a kid back then, always curious, poking his nose into places he shouldn't. She remembered how fond she had been of him, how she had hoped that he would grow up into a kind ruler. But that was before the tragedy, before the civil war, before the massacre. There was an intoxicating scent in the air, something faint, barely there, but unforgettable. She first noticed it in Lady Laken's room, a trace of something familiar. So subtle it could have been dismissed as perfume. But Mamao's senses had been trained in poison, in flowers that kill and oils that seduce. And this fragrance, she knew every note of it. It was rare, too rare. She followed the scent across the consort's belongings, on hairpins, fabric folds, even the writing brush. And then she remembered. The same scent was once used in the red light district. Not for seduction, but to mask the stench of blood. It was a cover-up. And suddenly, Mamo saw it clearly. Lady Laken had come from a background that no noble woman would admit. Someone had dressed her in royalty to bury a darker truth, but why bring her here? Who would place a fragile, traumatized woman into the most cutthroat part of the palace, unless it was for a reason? A political move? A distraction? Or worse, a trap? Before the young prince became a ruthless conqueror, before the guilt and grief turned him cold, she subtly removed all traces of the fragrance. She replaced every scented cloth with neutral herbs. She made the air clean so that Lady Laken could finally breathe freely. And when the consort noticed, she didn't speak. She simply nodded, silently, gratefully. No words exchanged. Just a glance between two women who understood what silence really meant. Why? What did the crown prince want? She knew she shouldn't be surprised by his interest. After all, she was the emperor's most trusted poisoner, an expert in making deadly concoctions invisible, undetectable. Her services were not only in high demand in the palace, but outside of it too. Even the royal family wanted a slice of her skills. But that didn't mean she welcomed it. "So please forgive me for leaving early. His Royal Highness wants to meet with Mao." It had been years since she last saw His Royal Highness. Mao shivered, drawing her robe tighter around her shoulders. Now he had her summoned. After all these years, she found it difficult to breathe, let alone speak. What does His Royal Highness want? The voice that came out was barely a whisper. She had to stop herself from fleeing, from hiding in the familiar nooks of the palace where nobody could find her. But then she remembered why she was here: to serve, to obey, to do whatever it took to protect the fragile balance of power in this rotten world. Slowly, cautiously, she began to make her way through the maze of corridors and courtyards that led to the Crown Prince's residence. Each step made her more uneasy. What if he recognized her? What if he remembered their past together? Memories could be dangerous things. They could bring back feelings that were best left buried. Feelings like trust, loyalty, fondness. Feelings that could make her weak. When she finally arrived at the Crown Prince's courtyard, she noticed something strange. Maman knew she couldn't ask questions. The palace didn't tolerate curiosity. But she could act. But Mama couldn't shake the feeling. Someone had brought that scent here on purpose. Someone wanted her to notice. And that meant someone was watching her again.